If you're struggling learning new vocabulary and retaining that information, you clicked on the right video. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video about language learning. I know it's been such a long time, but here we are. So in this video, I will be sharing 6 new methods to learn vocabulary faster and retain that information that you have just learned. So let's just get started. If you're struggling learning new vocabulary and retaining that information, you clicked on the right video. Hi, hello, this is Helene, and today we are going to be talking about 6 methods of vocabulary learning that I find quite effective and quite easy and doable, which is quite important in learning languages, because when we look at methods, they should be doable and they should be sustainable. So that's why in this video I'll be sharing my methods with you guys. So the first tip is to learn the word opposites with the word that you're learning. So for example, if you're learning the word hot, you should learn the word cold, and if you're learning the word white, you should be learning the word black. The reason why we're doing this is to retain that information and to have the mental connections that your mind is making when you're learning that language. So if you know the opposites of the word that you're learning, it'll help you remember it faster. Think about when you were a kid and when you were learning new things and new vocabulary at school. That's what we did. They would give us words, but they would give us those words with their opposites so that we could remember and memorize easily. The way you can do this is basically having a flashcard, and on one side you can have the original word that you're learning and the opposite on the other side so that you can study. I like to keep physical flashcards, but if you don't prefer physical flashcards, you can do like Quizlets, or you can do like phone vocabulary apps. However you like it, you can do basically an Excel sheet. It totally depends on how you like it, but I personally like the physical flashcards because I like to write with my hand, which is also another tip. If you are a learner like me, writing it down could actually keep that information, way more effective. Another example would be generous and selfish, or expand and shrink. I'm giving those examples in English because I'm making this video in English, but if you are a person who's learning a different language than English, you can also apply to that. You can apply to that to French, you can apply to that to Japanese or Hindi. Definitely doesn't depend on the language that you're learning. Learn the word with the opposites. And if you could keep a mini list of the vocabulary that you learned in your notebook to basically just go through it every day, it'll, just look at it at a glance. Just don't look at everything, but just look at it at a glance. And if there are words that you don't remember, you can maybe work on that. Tip number 2 is to basically use those words in a sentence. So you know how when you open up a dictionary, you will find the meaning of the word, sometimes the similar word, sometimes the opposite word, and you'll always find in good dictionaries a sentence that has that word in it. It is important because you learn how to use that word in a sentence. So for example, if I have a word, so I have a vocabulary book here, a notebook of Korean, and I wrote down tange. I know what it is, but I don't know how to use that in a sentence. So that doesn't really help me with learning that vocabulary, because if I cannot speak it, then basically, why am I even learning that language? We say speak a language. We don't say listen and understand a language, Or I have a word I have written is 소속, which means affiliation. but I don't know how to use that. So basically I don't know the vocabulary. So you should use them in a sentence. You should read them in a sentence and try to write the sentence down and try to focus on different ways of using that word in different sentences. The dictionaries will give you those sentences, and I think that it'll be great to keep a list of those sentences in the worksheet that you're using. So I'll also share a worksheet down in my bio to let you see how my thought process of learning vocabulary is. I will have the word that I'm learning, I will have the meaning in my mother tongue, I will have a sentence, and I will also put the opposite word, and I will also put the similar words in that sheet. So I'll share that with you guys so that you can use it later. So now take it one step further. Tip number 3 is to say those sentences out loud in front of the mirror. So as far as I know, the more you speak it, the more you remember, the more you have it in your head. I don't know the science behind it, but let's say that you're leaving the room and you're leaving your apartment and you want to remember that you turned off the television. And when you're getting out, if you say, I turned off the television, then you will remember better. This is the same thing. If you use it in a sentence, and if you say it in front of a mirror out loud, then you will remember that word or that sentence, preferably, much better. So that's why you should also be saying it out loud if you want to take the memorization process a bit further. Personally, I don't like to say it out loud more than 2 times because it gets boring, and if it gets boring, then I don't do it. So just keep it, simple and easy for you. Tip number 3. I said it in another video and I'm saying it for this video again, is to read anything and everything that you find on the internet. Doesn't matter if it's a book about monks, if it's a book about curtains, if it's a book about paper making. It really doesn't matter. Just read whatever you can find online written in that language. And even if you don't understand anything, just read it, okay? Try to find words that sound similar or words that you might hear again. For example, I was reading this magazine, Ponggeunsa, from Ponggeunsa Temple, and it was a topic about Buddha's birthday. God, it was a very difficult text. I was like, I know nothing about this thing, but I learned a lot of things from that magazine. I learned about the Buddha's birthday thing, or I learned about parade. I learned about the specific day names, and I learned a bit of Hanja, which is like the Chinese characters that are used in Korean that can help you learn Korean better. So even if you learn 2 or 3 words, that'll also help you. If you're learning things about curtains, maybe like, I don't know, it might teach you something. Even if it's boring, please try to read at least for 5 minutes each day. It'll again make you read faster in that language, which is a great thing, and it'll also help you learn a few words. Even if the topic isn't related with your daily life, it'll help you in the longer run. So I would recommend that. I think we're at tip number 5 is to note down similar words with the word that you're using. So if I'm learning the word light, I may learn the word lamp. I may learn the word lightning. All those words are related to each other, and if I learn one more word with the word that I'm learning, then I will have 2 words in total, so that'll double the amount of words that I'm learning. So basically, try to find similar words to the word you're learning. And also, one game changer is to learn things that sound similar. So meaning similar is okay. So let's say, I will use that example again, raise and elevate have the same meaning in some perspectives. But the word accept and accept sound similar. So if you are learning a word and if you're confused about the meaning or the sound, you might also use another example. But if you're still a beginner in that language, it might feel a lot. For example, in Korean, there's a word chosa. And for example, if there's a word sajo, then I might feel confused. So if I'm a beginner still, I wouldn't do this. This is more like a pro tip. But if you do the similar sounding words, then in exams and in tests, you may do better because depending on the context, it may mean accept or accept. There are similar sounding words. It's important to learn them for exams because they do use those examples in those tests. And also it's important when you're doing, when you're at school or when you're speaking with somebody and you're like, this cannot mean that. Like 조사 means investigation, and we are talking about, I don't know, like family. Why would he use that word? I would be confused because they're sounding similar. So I think there's this meme going on. It's quite old where Felix says,
필릭스 씨가 가장 좋아하는 밥 반찬은?
and he goes 방찬이형, because 방찬 and 반찬 sound similar. So you should learn similar sounding words, especially in East Asian languages, because they may feel very, very similar. In English, I don't that there are a lot of words that are sounding similar, but also in Turkish, we don't have the sound th, we don't have the sound the. It turns into d most of the times, or t. So 3 and tree were very difficult when I was learning that. V and W also sound way too similar for Turkish speakers. So you should also pay attention to that. So that's why we need to learn similar sounding words at the same time. But if you're still a beginner, don't get into this because it will mess up your whole learning experience. This is more like a pro tip. Also, tip number 5. You may use the same word and have different meanings in your native language. For example, in English, we use the word raise. To get a raise a child, raise the box. These all mean different things. In the beginning, raise, get a raise, is get a promotion, to be promoted. Raise a child can mean a lot of things. Grow a baby, and also raise a plant. That can also be used, I think, which means, grow a plant. And also, elevate. These all mean different things, but we use one word. But in the language that you're learning, they may have many different words. For example, in Korean, 기르다 means raise in the sense of grow. 승진시키다 means to get a raise, to be promoted. 올리다 or 높이다 are used for elevate. They are all translated as raise. So you might be wondering, can I use 승진시키다 for raising a baby? No, you can't, because it means to get promoted. So please pay great attention to that. If you see 3-4 words that are translated in the same way, just try to find an underlying message, an underlying meaning, because there will be a lot of underlying meanings in that kind of translations, especially in like online dictionaries, like press dictionaries. You may not find that much, but in online dictionaries that are not very diverse, you might feel that they're translated in the same way, so please double check. This is the bonus tip that holds everything together. Consistency. You don't need to work 6 hours every day, or 6 hours one day and 0 minutes the next day. You should consistently work 15 minutes or a set amount of time. 15 minutes is quite enough for vocabulary revision. When I was learning Korean, and I'm still studying vocabulary because I'm not a pro yet, I just spent 15 minutes with vocabulary revising. But if I'm in the mood, I do read a book. Currently, I'm reading this book. This is called 고양이만큼만 욕심내는 삶, and it's about cats, life, and everything in between. And it has a lot of good chapters, so I would recommend this book if you can read Korean. But reading books in a foreign language is a great way to learn vocabulary if you're in like B1 level. It is quite important to do. If you're not doing it, you will be like, oh, I'm stuck at B1 because you're not learning or expanding your vocabulary. But if you're a beginner, it is still important because that way you can read faster. And if you like reading books, really, then it's a great thing because you're reading and you're also learning. So that's why I love reading books in foreign languages. So these are all of the tips that I am going to be sharing with you guys today. I hope there are some tips that you'll be using. Please tell me in the comments which ones you found very helpful or which ones you're doing, or if you have any other further vocabulary learning methods that you can share with me. Please comment down below. And if you want more tips like this on the channel, please subscribe to the channel and like this video so I'll know that you like these types of videos. And if you want more of the information that I'm doing here, I'm doing much more on TikTok, so please follow me on TikTok and also Instagram. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.